Good morning, everybody. Good morning to our Facebook Live. We are so excited to have you with us this morning. This is our first Sisters Helping Sisters Win in the Kitchen. Woo! And so today, this morning, we have a special guest. I don't know if you all know, but I'm not a big cook, so this is going to actually help me as well. And so this is just another thing that Sisters Helping Sisters Win is birthing. We want women to be whole in every area of their lives, and I'm sure I'm not alone, but a lot of times we don't cook because we don't know what to cook, we don't know how to cook, we don't know how to prepare it, we don't know. There's a lot of stuff we just don't know. And so through this cooking show, we are going to learn some interesting stuff. I have some amazing cooks that are going to join me every other Saturday in the kitchen. And so today I'm going live from my very own kitchen. And I am so excited about this. I'm so excited that you decided to join us on this morning. And so before we get started, two things. You see our neat little aprons, Sisters Helping Sisters Win in the Kitchen. They are available for sale, $22.50. If you would like to purchase one, please contact me on Facebook. If you have my number, please do so. Also, if you could just hit that share button. It may be on your left side, might be on your right, but it takes a whole 5 seconds. Just push share and share with other women about what Sisters Helping Sisters Win is doing. And at the end of all this, we're going to do a few shows. And if you would like to submit a recipe, if you would like to be on the show, just contact me. I would love to either come to your home and cook in the kitchen with you, or you can join me in my kitchen and I'll just sit here and glean from you. And so at the end of all this, we are creating a cookbook called Sisters Helping Sisters Win in the Kitchen Cookbook. And so that will be in about a month and a half. But everyone that you see on the show, everyone that has submitted recipes are going to be in this cookbook that you can use as a guide in your kitchen. And so I'm not going to keep you long. We have with us today Sister Melissa Graves and her sous chef, Deja Johnson is joining us. And so my daughter asked if she could be in the kitchen with us, and I automatically agreed because I don't know if you remember coming up, it may be, some of a younger generation, but a lot of times the younger kids were right beside grandma or right beside mom learning in the kitchen. And I believe that they need to learn from a young age how to prepare meals, how to cook. I believe that is definitely important in your life. Don't you think that's true, Deja? Yeah. And so, without any further ado, I don't know if you've ever had any of Melissa Graves' food. It's amazing. Like, anytime somebody tastes her food, they think it's somebody's grandma. Somebody's grandma with swollen ankles somewhere cooking in the kitchen. But no, this is a millennial, and man, can she cook. And so today I'm going to turn it over to her. She's going to let us know what she is preparing for us on today. And also, if you have any questions, I have my iPad right here while we're going through the process that you would like to ask Melissa. I will address them. She's going to show us some healthy ways, some unhealthy ways, gluten-free, whatever you want, she's going to show us today. And so I'm excited. Again, hit that share button. 5 seconds. Hit it. And so I'm turning it over to Melissa, and she's going to show us how to win in the kitchen.
All right, let's do it. You ready? Yeah. All right, good morning, everybody. I'm Melissa, and today we're going to be making my meatloaf. So Melissa's meatloaf. We're actually going to start, though. Most meatloaf has a ketchup topping. I don't like that. That's just my personal thing. So I like gravy. So we're actually going to start with the gravy today first so that we can get that on the stove because it needs to be cooking. So I'm going to grab our pot that we have here, ready. And we're going to slide this to the side. So we're gonna first start with, and let Jay, if you can actually open up this other can.
Sure.
We're gonna first start with some cream of mushroom soup. Now this, you can make as much or as little gravy as you want. It just depends on your, whatever you like, whatever you prefer.
I do know how to open a can, guys.
She's got that down pat. So we're actually gonna take the, I have just great value. It doesn't have to be expensive kind. Actually, the other red spatula with the black and red one. So we're gonna take this and we're gonna dump I have three 26 ounce jars or cans here. And then the other thing we're gonna do is I'm gonna take some water because we're gonna be mixing this as well. So if you can actually just fill this almost all the way up, it's about 3/4 of the way full. What we're gonna do is put that in here, and also to this we're going to add, for every can of mushroom soup, you also want to have some Lipton onion soup. So we're actually gonna open up some Lipton onion soup to put in. So we're gonna be using 3 of those. Daisy, you want to open up one? We're gonna be using 3 of these.
Is it okay to pour this?
Yep. Pour it right in there, and we're just dumping it right in. Now these things that I'm doing is things that you have right in your home. Most people, you can go to the store and buy whatever you like if you have a particular brand, that you like. But we're putting 3 packets in here, so 1 pack per can. Okay? Everybody got that? All right, pour it right in, Dej. And then the other thing that I do, because when you're cooking in the kitchen, you oftentimes have paper and trash. I have a bowl that I use to throw all of my scraps and stuff in, so that way we don't have to walk away from where we're at.
Wow, she even showed you how to discard your trash.
So also in this, we're going to add some seasonings, and you can use, I love these rubber spatulas. It's all dirty now, but I love all these rubber spatulas because they help you get all of the stuff out that you wouldn't be able to get if you just were using a regular spoon. So I'm going to take this same spatula and I'm going to put it in here. And I also have a whisk, Deja, that is on the counter. Can you grab that whisk from by the stove? So with the whisk, you're just going to whisk this together. Now, for the gravy, you can use the seasonings however you choose. But I'm actually just going to take some onion powder. You can put about a tablespoon if you'd like, or a little more, a little less, depending on however you like it. So I'm just going to put some of that in here, as well as onion powder, and this just adds a little bit more flavor to your gravy. Now, we're going to take this right over to the stove and let it be on high. This needs to cook for about 25 minutes, and I'm just going to take the whisk here, and it's, we're just stirring it to make sure that everything is incorporated. And you want it to be a little bit thicker. So, Lady J, if you want to stir that and just get everything kind of mixed together, we're heading right to our next part. So, the meatloaf itself. Now, for anyone that is trying to do this on a healthy kick, you can. So right now I have ground beef in this bowl here, just ground beef. And we're actually doing this recipe with 5 pounds of ground beef. I don't know how to make anything small, but you can cut the recipe down. If it is just, 1 or 2 of you, you can cut the recipe down to do what you need to do as far as that. But to this, just before we get started with this, we're going to let this ground meat sit to the side. You want your ground meat, though, to be room temperature. But if you're trying to do this on a healthy kick, or maybe you're trying to transition into a healthier version, you can do half ground meat and half turkey, mix them together. That way you can kind of transition your family from what they've been used to eating to something new. And then you can just switch all the way over to turkey. You can use ground turkey. Now to this, I add onions. So we actually already have diced onions, but I'm actually going to show you really quick how to dice an onion. So I've got a regular onion here. Just yellow onions is what we're using. And I'm going to cut the top and the bottom off of it. Okay. And then again, we've got our handy little bowl over there that we're going to put all of our scraps into. But you're just going to take the outer layer off, because you don't need that. You don't want that in there. It can be a little bit more tough. So I'm going to take that off. Now, I like to dice these in small pieces, and the reason for that is we're going to be putting this right in the meatloaf, okay? So I just like to dice it really small. You can put this in a food processor if you want to, but since we're trying to learn how to one in the kitchen, we definitely want to make sure that we're learning how to teach ourselves to chop and different things like that. Dej, you got any questions?
No, okay.
No, you're okay? Deja's going to be helping us here soon.
Does this need a lid or?
No, you can. It doesn't need a lid. You're just going to let it sit and do its thing. It needs to cook so that everything can blend, and it's going to be a nice, smooth consistency or texture.
Okay.
So we're going to, anybody have any questions on the lab before we move to the next part?
Let's see if we have any questions.
So we're gonna somebody forgot to turn the volume down, but it's all right. So I'm just dicing these onions here really small. And then what we're going to do is I'm actually going to saute them, because before I put them in the meatloaf, I'd like to have it, I like to have them cooked somewhat. You don't want to bite into a piece of meatloaf that's cooked beautifully and have a raw onion in there. And sometimes it takes a little bit longer for onions to cook in the oven. So I'm going to set this to the side, but we do have 2 cups of diced onions that we're going to be using. And then we're also going to be using mushrooms. I love mushrooms. So mushrooms are also going in this. Now what I did, I got baby portobello mushrooms, and we're also going to do 2 cups of these. But what you're going to do with these, I actually got the pre-sliced ones. They're actually a nice thickness that I like, but I'm still going to chop these up because you don't want whole huge pieces of your mushrooms in there like that. So we're going to actually let Lady J chop these up.
Okay.
Nice and small. So basically I just take the knife. You can use either one of these knives that you, this one's a little bit
I get the big knife.
Yeah. And then, yep, just right down in there, and then do it different ways so that they can get into small pieces.
Okay,
Okay. So again, just want to kind of show you what you need to be doing as you're going about doing this. Now, for anybody that can't have, that is gluten-free, that can't have bread, I do use breadcrumbs in this. But what I normally do, because I've made this before for individuals that are gluten-free, I normally will take extra vegetables and add in to help with the consistency. So you can add extra vegetables and that'll help it come together still like it needs to. We're also going to be adding 3 eggs to this particular number of pounds of meat. And the meat also helps us, the eggs also help as a binder. So we want to bind it all together. Okay. And we're going to get our hands in here. I'm actually going to take my ring off. We're not going to get our hands in there just yet, but I'm actually going to take my ring off.
Okay. And we did all wash our hands before this, so don't think,
So she's doing a really good job cutting these and making them small. And you just want, like I said, about 2 cups. You can do as much or as little as you want. This is just the way that I have developed the recipe. By all means, make any adjustments that you need to. And if you're sensitive to the seasoning, you can simply downscale it, add a little bit at a time. And before I finish this, I'm actually just going to tell you ahead of time, I never just put this in the oven once we're done mixing everything. Every time I make it, even though it's the same recipe, I always take a small amount, roll it in a ball, flatten it out, and actually cook it right on the stove to taste it. Why do you do this? Because you want to taste your food to make sure it tastes right before you stick it in the oven.
That may be why a lot of my stuff comes out not, seasoned the way I thought it was going to.
It's okay.
Okay.
It's okay. You learn as you learn.
This is what we're here for, to learn.
Absolutely.
So that's something I did not know. So that is good information.
Yeah. So that's what we're going to do with this. So what we're going to do now here is you can do this one of 2 ways. You can saute the vegetables with a little bit of probably a tablespoon of butter or a tablespoon of olive oil. You don't need a whole lot of oil or butter in it either way. You just need enough so that there's a little bit of liquid in the pan so that it can cook and do what it needs to do. They need to cook for about 5 to 7 minutes.
Okay.
Everybody good? You got questions, Deja? No? You good? All right. So.
Okay, is this good enough?
Yeah. Yep,
okay.
This is good. Because again, this is gonna add so much to your meatloaf. More than just sticking a whole hunk of meat in a pan and putting it in the oven. You want to make sure that you develop flavor. And also when you saute these onions and mushrooms in the pan, you also want to make sure that you season them. You want to season as you go, lightly, and then you taste to make sure. You can always add more, but you can never take it away. So that's the one. If there's one other thing that I can share with you, always add as you go. You don't need to add everything at once. Taste it, and then if it tastes right to you, then you're good. If you need to add something else, you can always add a little bit more after. Okay. So the same way, we're just going to sit this over here. The same way that we did with our sauce, our gravy, we're actually going to start adding in here what we need. So we're going to put 2 packs of the cream of mushroom soup. I'm sorry, the Lipton onion soup in here. So Deja, you want to open these up again and pour them right in? And then I'm going to tell you the measurements that I use. So it's 2 packs of these. You just rip it on the side, put it in here.
Well, I thought there was like a
fancy way.
Fancy way to do it.
I mean, I don't do it fancy.
The way the meatloaf tastes, I thought maybe there was just like a delicate way to do it. Okay,
I just rip it up
and pour.
Okay.
Okay.
And then you just want to make sure. Now, one thing I always do with these packs, because they can be stuck, is just to kind of shake them at the end. Because you want to make sure you get everything out of them.
Okay.
Very good. Deja already know where to throw stuff at.
Okay.
So that's that. Now, we've already have measured out, and Deja, you can actually go ahead and pour these in. And as she's pouring them in, I'm going to tell you what they are. So that's parsley.
Okay.
We've got a tablespoon and a half of parsley. And then pepper, we have a half a tablespoon. And then when you're putting it in, you can even mix it around. This is also a half a tablespoon of Lowry's seasoned salt. Now, I prefer Lowry's. I'm a Lowry's girl. I prefer this. They do have 30% reduced sodium, so you can also do that. Again, you don't even have to add the seasoned salt if you're sensitive to the salt level of salt content. That's just, completely up to you.
Okay.
Now we've got 2 tablespoons of onion powder.
Okay.
And what's next? 2 tablespoons of garlic powder.
Oh, wow.
So I put these things in, and then the last thing
I was thinking for meatloaf, like seasoned salt, salt and pepper. That's it.
No, and I mean,
this explains why my meatloaf comes out the way it does.
I don't know that I've ever had the pleasure of trying your meatloaf.
Okay, I'm sure Bishop will be a lot more happy with this one. So,
what do you think, Deja?
Yeah.
So those are the basic seasonings that I use for this, and again, putting the onion powder, the onion soup mix in, just further mirrors the flavor that you're going to have in the gravy. So it just further adds another layer of depth to your meal. So I'm going to pause because I want to make sure we're not missing any questions or anything, and we want to take the time to clean up a little bit. That's my other tip.
Making sure we don't have any questions. Now's your time to ask any questions pertaining to the steps thus far.
And we're going to clean as we go. That's going to make your life so much easier.
Clean as we go. Okay.
So I'm just taking the time to make sure that our cleaning station is, proper and ready to go.
Okay. And I have a garbage can over here. Don't think I'm throwing it on the floor. What garbage can?
All right. Now, the other thing that we're going to add to this is 3 eggs, which I mentioned before. I'm going to take just a measuring cup. You can use any bowl, anything you would like. Do not add the eggs directly to the meatloaf. Does anybody know why? Do you know why I would say that?
Nope.
You have an idea?
No,
okay.
I don't.
For a couple different reasons. You want to make sure that the egg is good, that there's not a problem with the egg. Every now and then, you can open up an egg and it can have blood in it, and you don't want to have that in your food. So, or a little chicken.
Yeah.
Baby chicken. Also, you want to make sure that you don't get any shells in the meatloaf.
I was going to say
Were you going to say that?
I was so like,
no. So you want to crack it right in something else, and this allows you to see it first before you put it in. Make sure that there's no problem. Then you add it in. Okay. Anybody, you want to try to crack an egg in here?
Sure.
And then Deja can try one.
I don't know. Like the way you did that was like so. Like you just
tap it enough so that it cracks, but you don't want to smash it on the table.
Okay. So just a little crack and a little. Okay.
Yep. And then you push right in the center. I've actually taught my nephew. He's normally close with me.
Okay.
I taught him he knows how to crack eggs. In fact, one time, I want to say he was like 2 or 3. We woke up in the morning and came downstairs, and he was in the kitchen with a big bowl like this, and he had about a dozen eggs cracked.
Oh,
no
wow.
shells in the bowl.
Oh, wow.
He said, "I'm cooking for you guys." And I said, "Oh, okay, we're going to put a stuff in this right now."
Okay, Deja.
But go ahead, Deja. Now you might need to do a little bit harder, and then you're gonna push both fingers in. All right. So this is an example. Watch. Keep your hands up there. So when you crack the egg, when you hit it on the side, you want to take both of your thumbs and push in a little bit to it, and then pull it out. Okay. And then that way, yep, we're good. Yep, she's good to go. Okay. And then we're pouring it in there. Okay. And then when you're done with your eggs, we're gonna put our hands in here.
Okay.
But you do want to make sure that you wash your hands and clean your station. So we're putting that over here, and Lady J is gonna grab us something. The other thing I didn't put in here yet, but the other thing that we're gonna add is mustard.
Oh,
you probably will be like trying to figure out why mustard, but mustard just works. Mustard is actually a wonderful agent in cooking. I use this on ribs and everything else, so that's to come. But you're just gonna take this mustard, and it's 3 tablespoons of mustard that you're gonna put in here.
I would have never guessed mustard.
You would have never guessed. And don't be surprised. Sometimes things taste differently. They taste differently when you use them. Even if mustard is not something that you like, try it. I encourage you to try it first, and then let me know. Okay, that can go to the sink, and so can this. You can take that whole thing to the sink. And then we have 1.5 cups of Italian-style panko breadcrumbs, okay? So we're gonna pour those right in. Now, I'm gonna have Deja go over and get me some water, fill this bowl almost all the way up to the top. We're actually gonna get our hands in this and get this all mixed up, okay? And then I need to make sure that our gravy is doing good and it's bubbling. It's actually doing very well right now. And again, with the gravy, you wanna make sure, if you like yours a little bit thicker, by all means, add less water. If you want it to be a little bit more thinned out, add more water, whatever the case is, however you wanna do that. But it's bubbling and it's actually doing really well over here.
So, Melissa, we have a few questions.
Okay, so what's up?
And so, is the meal being sent out to the viewers?
I want to know who asked that question. Is this somebody that I know?
That is Minister Marlise, who happens to be her sister.
Yeah, that's one of my sisters. So, no, we're not sending the meals out. We're doing this so that you can take the time to make this at home. But for those of us that are here, we will be doing a tasting to make sure that everything tastes good and that we're moving forward. And we're also going to show you what a complete meal will look like when you have this recipe. And you can do anything that you want to do with it, but that's a little bit later to come.
Okay, we also have a, I'm on the road driving. Can you list those directions for me for later, please?
Yes, we're actually, I don't know if you guys had a chance to see the beginning part, but Lady J is actually going to be making a recipe book. So all of the recipes will be available. I'm not sure if we'll be posting the recipe right after this video or if it would just be in the cookbook. So
yeah, it would just be in the cookbook, or you can go back and watch.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. So we have all those steps. And we have another one.
And so Bishop says, what? Clean as you go. Oh, so I think that this was a hit on me. But God bless you, Bishop. We're glad that you joined us on this morning. Can you do all these things? Can you do all of this the night before and leave it in the fridge before cooking the meatloaf?
Yes, you can. Yes, you can. So what we did for today, for the purpose of the show, we are making it for you in front of you, but we also do have it done already. So I actually already prepared it the night before. So the meatloaf and everything was mixed up and ready to go in the pans. You can actually already have it sitting ready to go in the oven. What I will encourage you is to always make sure that when you are cooking meat, that your meat gets a chance to sit out and at least sit out for 20 minutes.
Okay.
That's to help bring the temperature up. If you have a cold steak or cold meatloaf that you're going to put into something hot, the temperature from your cooking unit, whether it's a skillet or the oven, is going to drop immediately because of how cold that item is.
Oh, wow.
So that's just something that I found. So I always let it sit out for a little while. So if you do it the night before, just make sure that before you put it in the oven that you set it out for at least 20 minutes so that it can come a little bit up to room temperature. That helps with the cooking process. Now, while you're doing that, I'm going to wash my hands because I was touching my hair, and that's something else. Make sure you wash your hands.
Okay, so where can we get these recipes? Again, we are going to be producing a recipe book that will be out within a month to a month and a half. So those will be available for purchase to get all these fine recipes. Also, Melissa, can you use brown mustard? I like both, but I just like brown better.
Yeah, if you want to do that, by all means, go ahead. I would suggest this when you're trying a recipe for the first time. Try it the way that it is designed, and then if you want to try something different, make whatever modifications you'd like. But yes, you can. If you want to use brown mustard, you can. I personally don't normally use brown mustard. It's just not something that I have a taste for. But yellow mustard definitely brings a different flavor profile to your meal.
Okay, and so we have Brendan Williams, who claims he's on his way to get some meatloaf. Shirese Guyton's on her way to get some meatloaf. Brendan says hello, Deja. So,
all right, we ready?
Yes.
Okay. We got more comments, more questions.
Just people wanting some.
Just people. Well, you guys are in luck because you're going to be able to make this and have it whenever you would like.
Yes.
So again, remember those healthy steps that you can do. There's reduced sodium, reduced fat options, which again, I'm just making this the normal basic way that I would, but you can do any of those options to make it be.
Stir?
Yeah, you can stir.
Okay.
But if you're using a nonstick pan or pot for your sauce, your gravy, it should be fine. It needs to bubble. It needs to let all those flavors marry. So.
your sister's just wanting some, and I mean, Marlise, you have direct access to this beautiful jewel, so I'm sure she would be willing to make her nieces some meatloaf anytime.
Yeah, so we're going to go ahead and get started with this part. Now, the other thing I was going to tell you guys, and I'm actually going to do this for the purpose of today, I'm not going to saute these vegetables. What I'm going to do, I'm pouring these in. Again, for the onions, it's going to be about 2 medium-sized onions. That gives you the 2 cups. You can,
Brendan said, sisters cook, brothers we eat. We all win. I mean, Brendan,
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to chop up a few more of these really quick. And then we're actually going to put these in the microwave. If you, by chance, are not good at multitasking, you may want to just go ahead and stick them in the microwave with a little bit, with some water, enough to kind of cover them. This just helps them to get translucent. And then I am going to add, remember, season as you go. Okay. So you want to make sure that there's a little bit of seasoning in them so that when you add them to your meatloaf, they are not lacking in flavor. Okay? So we're going to put these in the microwave. I'm not going to saute them today. We're going to put them in the microwave. Okay. With a little bit of water.
So you usually saute them.
I would saute them with a little bit, but I'm giving you guys, for time's sake, and also I'm just giving you another alternative to what you can do if you are not good at multitasking. Because you would have to make sure, like right now we have this cooking, and I don't know if you can see, but our gravy is starting to bubble a lot more. So we're just going to turn our fire down a little bit lower so that it doesn't overflow. And you could use any size pot that you would like. But again, we're going to take some water to put in here, put it in the microwave for about 5 to 7 minutes. This helps them to get cooked a little bit, and that way we can put them right in the meatloaf.
So 5 to 7 minutes in the mic, okay. And so, Gina, if you come to church, tomorrow, I think she made enough that we can give out some samples tomorrow, right, Melissa? Yeah. I'm thinking. Brendan, thank you for joining us. Pastor Lee Michael's on here, and with Brendan's comment, we are going to actually have some cooking shows because my husband is a beast in the kitchen. And so he's going to help his sister win. My son's a beast in the kitchen. Oh, yeah. And so he's going to help his sister win. So, guys, this is not just for women. We are going to have some men on the show. If you can cook and you want to be on the show, please contact me. We would love to have you. So, thank you guys for chiming in. This is our first show, so we're just, going along with the flow. So I hope you guys are enjoying the show thus far. Yeah. And so
again, to this, seasonings in the ground meat. Again, you can use for the ground meat, or for your meat, you can use ground meat. The leaner you can use, but you definitely want to make sure that you have a little bit of fat. Why? Because you don't want it to be dried out, number one. Okay. And sometimes if you use a leaner meat that's like extremely lean, you want to have to add other things to help keep the moisture level. So that when you put it in the oven, it doesn't get, dried out.
Okay.
So,
okay.
So that's good. So again, seasonings in this, we use 2 packs of the Lipton onion soup. Okay. We use 2 tablespoons of onion powder, 2 tablespoons of garlic powder, 1.5 tablespoons of parsley, 1/2 tablespoon of black pepper and Lowry seasoned salt, and then 3 tablespoons of mustard. Okay. And we also have 3 eggs in here, and then we put the breadcrumbs. So 1.5 cups of breadcrumbs. Now, who wants to help us mix this wonder? She doesn't even want to. So we'll get right in here. No, it's okay. It's okay.
I was gonna say, Deja said she would like to help.
Okay. Now what I'm gonna have you do though first is what? Yep, because we're touching our face. So you want to make sure when you're making this for just your family, you guys do what you do.
Yeah, they don't care.
But we're actually going to start mixing this.
Bishop said food remains in the house, so I guess there will be no samples in the house.
So right now, I'm just starting to mix this and incorporate everything. And this is another reason why you want to have your meat room temperature. Your hands will be ice cold. At least room temperature, because it helps. So we're just mixing. I'm going to let Deja put her hands in here and start mixing as well. And what we're doing in this is just making sure that we get everything. Okay.
Deja, go wash your hands
anytime you touch your hands or your face. Yep, because we want to make sure that we keep the food free from anything else that's not supposed to be in it. Yes. How many of you have gone somewhere before and had hair or something in your food or something that a foreign object? You don't
practice safe hygiene around here.
So I'm just mixing, and then as you go, I'm going to wait on the onions and mushrooms. But you also want to have a little bit of water next to you, probably about a cup. And just as you go, you can pour a little bit. You can put a little bit in as you go, and that just also helps to mix everything together. Yeah. So Deja, you can go ahead and Get your hands in here.
My
I'll give you a
friend
chance.
Joyce is on the show. I'm so excited.
Yep.
Joyce, thanks
Yep,
for
we're going
joining
just
us.
like this. Yep, because we want to get everything mixed together because we want all of the seasoning, all of the flavor to be distributed throughout all of the food.
Oh, wow.
Make sense?
Okay.
So we're mixing this up. And then what I do when we're done with this, and that's probably going to be a couple more minutes. All right, let me go ahead in here and help get everything
Good
mixed
job,
up.
Deja.
Just keep your hands right up there because then I'll let you help me with the next part. Now, as we're mixing this, we're going to be waiting on those onions and mushrooms to be able to go in this.
Okay.
One thing that I do with this before I put it in, like I mentioned before, I always taste this. Now, I prefer meatloaf 2 different ways. I put it in the oven most of the time whenever I'm making it for like a large group. But if it's just me or like just my family, I like to make them into like hamburger patties and do them on the stove. Why? Because I love the crispiness that you get from putting them in the pan.
Okay.
So a couple things that you can do. If you like the crispiness, you can just make them in, unshaped, unformed. Just throw it in the pan. Let them, the same way you would cook a burger, same way. But the flavors are amazing.
Okay.
You can also take the meatloaf when it's finished from in the oven, and you can slice it, and you can actually take a hot pan and put those pieces down laid flat.
Okay.
Just so you can get that crispiness on it and flip it over. Same thing.
Okay. So we have another question.
Yes.
Pastor Ebony says, if you're using turkey meat, do you need any more or less eggs? Can you use ground chicken as well?
You can use ground chicken. I personally have not done it with ground chicken, but you can use any meat. The meatloaf, you can have a chicken loaf, a turkey loaf. You can do any of those things. If you're using turkey or chicken and it's less fat, that's okay. You may want to add 1 extra egg or even extra breadcrumbs. The breadcrumbs help to hold on to the water and also help to combine it.
Okay.
So that way when you're putting your meatloaf in the oven, it's not going to come out like a stiff piece of hard rubber. So the eggs and the breadcrumbs and the water, that's also why we put the vegetables in there. They all help with the moisture level. And so you should be okay with turkey.
Okay.
You should be completely fine with turkey. But again, test it, try it, do your recipe if you're going to use turkey, and then test a piece of it on the stove in a skillet.
Well, Pastor Michael's in the house.
Hello, hello, hello. Come on in.
Shouting out us, ladies. Thank you for your constant support.
So this is almost incorporated with everything.
Said she knew she was doing something wrong.
So again, don't fault yourself, ladies. There's a lot of things that you might not have learned, that you might not have known. You only know what you know. Now that you know, you can make some better changes moving forward. We can actually go ahead and pop those out. And we'll take those out because we're going to stick them in here. And then we're going to mix those. So the other thing that the onions and mushrooms bring to this again is another level of flavor, as well as...
Oh, they smell delicious. They do.
So, you grab that red spoon from over there for me. And we're going to... Now, these are going to be hot. So... I'm going to mix this part myself. But what you're going to do, you don't really need too much of the liquid. You're going to pretty much be taking most of this and putting it in here because, again, you don't have to add it all. But I prefer mine with a lot of vegetables in there because it helps. It helps with your meatloaf and the flavor. So as I'm doing this, and again, these are hot, so you can do them ahead of time so that they're cooled down some. But if you can see the steam coming up, they are hot.
Smells good, and I don't even eat onions.
So this is, parents, I want to say this to you. For those of you that sometimes struggle with your children to eat vegetables, this is a great, easy way to get a serving of vegetables in. So you can pack this thing. You don't want too much vegetables where it's a vegetable loaf with a little bit of meat. But you can add extra vegetables in here to help, with getting your child to eat vegetables. So I wanted to mention that. I know some parents struggle with getting their children to eat different vegetables. So we're mixing this in, and I'm thinking that we still need a little bit more.
Brett.
So you can put as much or as little. So like I said, the recipe that I'm using calls for 2 cups of both, but you can use less. You only want to use a half a cup. If you don't like mushrooms, don't put them in. If you don't like onions, it won't really affect the flavor too much. You'll still have a good flavor profile because of everything else that's in there. So this is getting done. Can we turn up the pan on the front stove? Because we're going to be mixing a little one of these. And if we can give our gravy a stir. And y'all, I love cooking. Cooking is my thing. And I'm always watching other cooking shows to learn different things. So we're gonna go ahead and set this to the side.
And you want the skillet on?
The skillet, yep.
Okay.
I already turned the, it should already be on, starting to get warm.
Okay, it's on.
And it just needs to be up on high.
She said, can you stir this a little bit, Deja?
And do it gently so that you don't have any burns or anything that happen. So the consistency of the meatloaf, when it's done, it's gonna be nice and wet, but it's not gonna be where you can't form it. Okay.
Okay.
So this is actually a good texture and consistency. You always just have a little bit of water in case you need more or less. Just depends on, you know, if you took your meat out ahead of time or you didn't. And then if those if your vegetables are hot, that also helps with kind of breaking down the meat.
Okay.
So I'm good with this. So what I'm gonna do is take a piece of this and we're gonna go ahead and just test it to make sure that it tastes okay. So what I normally do is take, depending on how many people are in the kitchen with me or that are nearby. Okay. I always get somebody else's opinion. And if you want to add more breadcrumbs, you can. Okay. If you want, you know, a little bit stiffer consistency, you can do that. But I normally just take some, put it into the shape of a little patty, and I want to put it right into the hot pan.
Okay. Lady Woods, you can either go back and you can watch this live broadcast, or we're going to be having a recipe book that we're putting out as well. Thank you, Lady Michaels. Thank you for hopping on. Please, again, if you were not on from the beginning, please take the time to share on your page so we can get this out to ladies all over the world. Please, just share. It takes 5 seconds. Just share. And so,
I want to take this over real quick so that they can start seeing him. Let me take that. Stay on that side for me. All right, so I want to bring this pot over real quick just so you can have a better idea of what this texture looks like. And I'm not going to
gravy is amazing. Oh.
So again, very simple things that we're doing. So just so you can kind of get a sense of what the texture, the consistency, it's nice, it's smooth and everything. Whenever you put the cream of mushroom soup in, sometimes it can look a little lumpy. It needs to cook. It needs to cook. Don't think that anything's wrong. Okay. And that is why I use a whisk. Okay. I like to use the whisk because it helps to incorporate everything appropriately. All right. And then we need to taste it to make sure that it's, you know, that it tastes good. Okay. So you want to grab a couple spoons, Deja, so we can try that. And while we're doing that, we do have our meatloaf that's over here cooking to try. Okay. And then we're going to talk about what we're going to cook our meatloaf in. All right. So I'm flipping this here. Now, normally if I was at my own house, I would flip it in the air because it's a little thin, but I don't want anyone to think that I'm being extra.
So she asked if we could post and pin the recipe. You won't buy my book if we post and pin the recipe.
Right. So we're going to put everything in the recipe book. Again, you can always go back to the video because it will be posted, and then you can write down whatever steps you need to. But we're going to go ahead and you guys can go to the stove and taste.
That's my daughter. She brings big spoons.
Oh, she wants to taste. So you guys can try the gravy. Just make sure that you blow it because it is hot. Okay. Now, while they're doing that and while our meatloaf is cooking over here, we're just getting it done so we can taste it. Let me know what you guys think. Now, they've had my meatloaf and gravy before, but we're testing this again live for everybody. Yes. Now, when you taste, doesn't need anything. Now, what I will tell you, they are not just saying that this is good because we're on this live. I just want you to know, okay? Yes. They will tell you.
I feel like we need a little more salt or something, but no, it is. That's perfect. It's very good. What did you think about it, Deja?
It was good.
You like it? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Was it lumpy? No, it was nice and smooth. All right, wonderful. So, easy way of how you can do this in the oven. I'm gonna we already preheated our oven to 350, and we have aluminum, small aluminum loaf pans. Now you can use whatever you want. I use these for this one today, but I also have a couple different size things you can use. You can use a larger one. This is a little bit larger than that one. Again, you can use any type that you want. For whatever you do choose to use, make sure that you do not completely pack the entire thing to the top. Because of the fat that is in it, it's going to bubble up. You don't want to have a spillover in your oven. Now, this particular recipe makes 4 of these small loaf pans. And the reason why I went with this loaf pan is because it's easy to control, making sure that the temperature that it gets done.
Okay.
You will know that it is done, and we actually have a thermometer that we will be using.
Okay.
That it needs to be at least 155 degrees.
Now, where could they purchase these thermometers? I know, to most of us, it's, but some people
You can
like
purchase
myself.
a thermometer anywhere.
Okay.
Walmart, Dollar General, Family Dollar,
And it's
Giant
a cooking
Eagle.
thermometer?
It's a cooking thermometer, yes.
Okay.
So I do want to make sure that we all understand you cannot use a regular thermometer that you would take your temperature with to test food. There is an actual cooking thermometer. There's many different kinds. This is a digital one. I believe it was like $12 at Walmart. So you can get this one as digital. It's very nice. You literally stick it in the center. So you don't want to push it all the way down. If this is the middle of if this is your item that you're checking and you're pushing this down, you don't want to push it down all the way to the bottom.
Okay.
You want to push it to where the tip is halfway, is to the middle. Because the middle is the furthest center part that the heat has to get to cook it.
Okay, that's good information. And so we have some people on here. James Platt says, "Where is Ruth? She could cook good, and I learned it from the best. My mother will be on the show, and she is a very good cook. So stay tuned. She will be with us in the near future." Thanks, James, for joining in. Yes, Tiffany, this book is going to be amazing. Why? Because you will be on the show several times. This is another person who is a true cook. Amen. I didn't mean to know. So, thank you, Sonia Waller. Thank you for always supporting us. Any other questions? Our show is
We are just about done. What I want you guys to do though is to try your meatloaf. Again, this is so that you make sure that your flavor and your seasoning is how you want it to be. So that's pretty hot, but you want to test it. And again, I love this crispiness to the outside when you do it in the pan. It's just wonderful. So you can do the same thing with the meatloaf once it's done. So we're going to grab forks and try it. But if this meets your flavor expectations, wonderful. All you're going to do is take these loaf pans. You're going to evenly distribute. You want to go on this side of me?
Okay,
go ahead,
come on over here.
Go on that side, sweetie.
Okay.
All right, so you're going to take your meatloaf and you're going to scoop it in, take it with your hands, however you want, evenly into these pans. And you just want to make sure that you push it down. You're going to put them in here, put them all in here.
Perfect.
And all of that, get it all even spread in there. And then we've actually already finished some. So I'm going to show you what they look like when they are done. Now, for cooking, you are going to be, let me stick this on. Okay, I'm flipping around the other way. So you're going to put this in the oven for 45 minutes on 350 degrees.
Okay.
For 45 minutes. So set a timer. Make sure you check it. I'm going to pull out one so you can just see what it looks like once it's done.
Oh, that's good.
So it's covered with foil. You want to have it covered with foil. Again, this is what it looks like when it comes out. After the first 45 minutes, uncover it and put it back in the oven for 15 minutes, but turn the oven up to 425.
Okay.
And then again, when you're done.
And that is for the
meatloaf.
Yeah. What is the purpose of turning up to 425?
So we're turning it up to 425 to also help with getting a little bit of a coating on the top.
Okay.
So it gets a little crisp in the oven on top. It's not going to burn.
Yeah.
And then just make sure that you check the temperature of your oven. Your oven could be a little bit different. So we're giving you times and everything, but just know your oven. So if your oven cooks a little bit faster, you may want to turn the temperature down or reduce your time on that. So again, if you want to check this, you just want to make sure that you stick it part way in, turn it on, and it will read. And right now we are getting a temperature of, waiting for it to warm all the way back up. But it's going to come up. We already had these done, so it'll be 155 whenever you take them out of the oven.
It says, Chef, thanks for using your professional safety cooking skills.
Absolutely.
Along the way. Yes, safety is important. Sister Linda, you could definitely go back and view it on Facebook. This is another one that will be in our kitchen one day. Who can throw down.
So you can cut these. I like to cut these about a little bit more than a half inch thick so that you get a nice piece. But again, you can take these same pieces and you can kind of see what it looks like. It's all together. It's not falling apart. Hopefully you can see that. But you can take these pieces and put it right into the pan. Get a little bit of sear on both sides. And then what we did so that you guys have an idea of how to do your meal, we have prepared a couple other things. We're gonna take a few of those pieces and put on here. So we have rice that we're gonna do with this. Also corn, broccoli, and cornbread. So what we will do is post a picture of the finished plate once everything's done. But that's my recipe for today. Meatloaf. This is Melissa's meatloaf. If there's any other questions,
yes, you can go back.
Let us know. Okay.
So, wow, how quick. And it looked easier than what I thought it would be. And so, Melissa, thank you for joining us. And oh my God, I tasted it and it is delicious. So thank you. And everything was done just in the spirit of excellence, just the way we like to do it for Sisters Helping Sisters Win. So, and this will not be Melissa's last time on the show. She has many of dishes that hopefully she's willing to share with us. So ladies, thank you. Thank you for joining us for our first Sisters Helping Sisters Win, winning in the kitchen. And so if you all can all just light up your screens and thank Melissa Graves for joining us. She is gifted in many areas, but this happens to be one of the ones that I really, really enjoy. So again, thank you. We're going to have a cookbook within about a month and a half. Again, if you would like your sisters, so we have different colors. We have bling, everything. If you would like your apron, please let me know. $22.50 is the price. And so thank you again. Ladies, Deja, how did you like your first experience in the kitchen?
It was fun.
It was fun, yes. So thank you for joining us. We pray that you have a great day, and we'll see you in a week and a half with somebody else in the kitchen. God bless.